Jacqueline Ades loved too much, too wildly, and, in the end, dangerously. She was born on 31st December 1986. In 2017, she was 30 years of age and had spent the last 2 years travelling and looking for a new start in life. She had not seen her parents for 2 years and their contact was mostly by text. She was looking for love and met Itzhak Ben Shabat, an entrepreneur on Luxy, an online dating service for millionaires. They went on one date which ended in an intimate liaison. Shabat didn't wish to pursue a relationship with her, but this didn't stop her from texting him. And texting, and texting. Over the course of the next 10 months, she sent him roughly 159,000 text messages. Let's examine a selection of these messages. Before reading this, it is important to note that both Jacqueline and Shabat were Jewish.
If I removed your skin from your fascia, and then your fascia from your muscles, and your muscles from the fat and organs, and then removed your circulatory system, and your muscles from the fat and organs, and then removed your circulatory system, man, I could have you everywhere. And you'd be so nice to me. It would be so different than this. I'd wear your fascia and the top of your skull and your hands and feet, and you'd be watching me in a taxidermy suit.
Fascia is a thin layer of connective tissue that surrounds bodily tissues. It holds organs, blood vessels, bone, muscle, and nerve tissue in place. Understandably, Mr. Shabat felt that this Hannibal Lecter-like approach was threatening.
I'd make sushi out of your kidneys and chopsticks out of your hand bones. I'm in fucking hell for you, rotten filthy. I'm like the new man was a genius. Madman. After you. I completely understand everything. You should die. You have worn out your welcome. You should go inhabit somewhere else. You and all your dirty friends. Selfish, filthy animals. Where's Schindler? He needs to come save you guys. Sacrifice one for the many.
These texts show a disorganization of communication. It is as though the addition of bridging sentences between what she texts would add clarity. This demonstrates a lack of continuity of thought. I believe that the disorganization of thought is indicative of formal thought disorder. Formal thought disorder is defined as a disruption of the form or structure of thought. This can occur in many psychiatric illnesses, including depression, mania, dementia, and psychosis. In order to assess this yourselves in the remaining texts, do the following. With every line of text sent, ask yourself if it logically and clearly follows from the one before, or does it appear disjointed as though an intervening sentence would have clarified things.
I need money. You will give it to me. I'll force it. What else will I force? This is cool.
The evidence of thought disorder here is somewhat subtle. I'd argue that there's a discontinuity between the line, "you will give it to me," and the line, "I'll force it." In most conversations, there would be a bridging phrase there dealing with what would happen if the person didn't give money willingly. This bridging phrase is missing. The link between "I'll force it" and "you will give it to me" is still discernible, but it doesn't flow as clearly and easily.
Some things in life have to be forced, especially in a meat sack. I have to force shit now. You will share. You will. Trust me, it's happening. Definitely have to do tons of shit I don't want to, huh? It is what it is, and I have to use everything I learned to get what I want. Training people. Enslave the Aryan race. It's time. You have like 48 hours max to share without force.
It is much clearer here. Jacqueline continues the theme of having to force Shabat to give her money and talks about using her knowledge to get what she wants. She then segues from that into the concept of training people and then the next sentence to enslaving the Aryan race. These are significant jumps in topic. The relationship between them is clear, but the tangentiality and even derailment of topic is also clear. These are two signs of formal thought disorder.
But that's only because I have to. You do whatever you have to get here, but don't ever try to leave me. I'll kill you. I don't want to be a murderer. Oh my God. Okay, I'm okay. Don't make me into a crazy person. It's possible, isn't it? You have to be nice to me and stay forever. Kinda evil here. Oh man. Oh, what I would do with your blood. I'd want to bathe in it, keep it filtered. Oh yeah, you could watch me and I'd tell you how amazing you are. Oh, Angle, is this so much nicer than your ideas? Oh, it would be so much nicer than this. Oh yeah. All my ideas are better than yours. I'll never wonder what anyone tastes like ever again. Only you. Oh yeah, there's only room for one of those. Should I ask my mom if she ever wondered what my dad tastes like?
This is another bizarre segue. She states that she'll never wonder what anyone else tastes like, presumably because she will be faithful to Shabat going forward. The alternative explanation is that she's referring to consuming him in a much darker fashion. I think that, in context, it is more likely to represent their intimate relationship rather than a darker cannibalistic threat. Then she wonders if she should ask her mother if she ever wondered what her father tastes like. This is both bizarre and inappropriate. However, it is the sort of unboundaried bizarreness you often hear with formal thought disorder.
You have to be sweet if I love you, and tender. Drink more water so you're juicy. Keep hydrated. I have to take really good care if I might eat you one day. I have to love you more, huh? All I want to do is leave. Anyway, I love you. Pervert. I bet your shoulders are even tender. I'd want to taste inside your sinuses. And under your eyeballs. If you make me mad, I'll eat you.
Well, that's all quite dark and disturbing. Let's look at what led to the sending of these text messages. Shabat found Jacqueline taking a bath in his home in April 8, 2018, on surveillance video while he was out of the country. She had brought over food, wine, her 2 dogs, and an 8-inch butcher knife. He called the police and Jacqueline was arrested. She was charged with first-degree criminal trespassing of a residential structure. Jacqueline was released from custody after being charged, but failed to appear in court. She reportedly showed up at Shabat's company offices in May, claiming to be his wife. She was escorted from the building by officers. She was arrested at her apartment complex on May 8, 2018, for breaching the conditions of her release. She was in Maricopa County's Estrella Jail until January 2019, when the following interview was arranged at the behest of her lawyer. Her lawyer believed she had either bipolar disorder or paranoid schizophrenia. It is also possible she may have had both, essentially schizoaffective disorder. He requested that she undergo a mental competency examination. He stated that she appears to have symptoms of delusion and makes reference to Walt Disney and Thomas Edison both being alive and controlling the world. Moreover, defendant asserts she is the Messiah and believes the entire court process to be both a game and a trick. A plea deal had been offered, which offered to sentence her to time served in return for a guilty plea and the conditions of 10 years probation and never contacting the victim again. Shabat's lawyer said, "I can tell you he's happy with the plea deal. He's not out looking to cause her extra problems. It seems that she's got a mental health issue and he wants her to get the help that she needs." Jacqueline refused the plea deal because she believed it was fake and a way of Mr. Shabat testing the strength of her love for him. She believed she would go to trial, be found not guilty, and that the jury would order her and the victim to marry. She believed that they're going to say, "You're not guilty, and on top of it, we demand that you two get married." In light of all this, Jacqueline's lawyer stated that, "I have doubts about her competency in light of the fact that there is a plea deal offer on the table, which I think is favourable." Based on her history, her lawyer's statements, and the interview which follows, It appears that Jacqueline suffered from a psychotic illness, most likely paranoid schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. She also appeared to suffer from secondary erotomania. Secondary erotomania is the term for erotomania or delusional love which occurs in conjunction with another psychiatric illness, usually paranoid schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, or bipolar disorder. Its clinical features are the sudden development of an intense delusional belief that the patient is in love with someone else, usually a person of high social status who fell in love with them first and made the initial advances. Any behavior by the victim which doesn't fit the narrative of them loving the patient is explained away as a test or some other ephemera. While delusions are often present, hallucinations usually aren't. The course is chronic, often with a poor response to antipsychotic medication. If you're enjoying this video and want to let us know you want to see more videos like this, hit the like button. Now, onto the interview.
Hi guys, I'm Jackie. Okay. You want to ask me questions? All right, go ahead.
Why don't you start from the beginning? How did you wind up here?
I wound up here on a road trip from Florida, looking for, I guess, love.
The first thing that strikes me as unusual is Jacqueline's intensity of gaze. While it isn't a sign that you can pin a diagnosis on clinically, there is a certain quality to the gaze of very psychotic people. I describe it as a sort of blank, fixed intensity to their gaze. In many patients, the appearance of this sort of blank, fixed, intense gaze can be used to chart the progress of their relapse and recovery from psychotic illness. This is irrespective of the symptoms they are willing to admit to. Her pattern of breathing also seems excessively deep for just sitting in a chair. It's too early to tell if this deep breathing is merely anxiety or indicative of something more.
And I was following the number 33. I used to wake up every day and every night at 3:33. It was always 3:33, 3333. So I kept following the number, and I said, why am I following the number 33? And I spoke to a psychic, and she told me I have the same birth chart as Jesus. So then I said, okay. I look up Jesus. He was 33 when he came to be. So I was like, that's a 33. My left eye axis is 33. The location I came from in Miami was 33111, the zip code. This zip code here, not the zip, the coordinates on the map, it's 33111.
Obsessive-compulsive disorder is present in roughly 10% of patients with schizophrenia. Even when OCD isn't present, we may see patients becoming obsessed with specific numbers and developing delusions of reference. Delusions of reference are where there is a belief that coincidences in the real world have a special meaning for the patient. In this case, the fixation on the number 33 is most likely a delusion of reference. We can also see that she has linked the delusion of reference about the number 33 to Jesus' age. From there, it links to her belief that she is the Messiah. This sort of linking between delusions is common in schizophrenia and can be referred to as a delusional complex.
How did you come to meet the man who is related to your case?
Oh, Isaac Ben Shabat. We met him online.
Mr. Shabat began a business selling Dead Sea products in shopping malls in 2001. This later spun off the company Secret Direct, which is involved in multi-level marketing of personal care, cosmetic, and clothing products.
I was looking for my healing angel. The psychic I met told me I would meet a healing angel. So I was in Utah, Mount Zion, looking for my healing angel. And I was at a bar, and I was talking to the bartender about the number 3, and I said, so the number 3, I told him the story, how I got here, just because I got here, the number 3. And then he said, not to say anything, but look behind me. And I looked behind him, and there's the giant number 3. So I was like, are you my healing angel? And he was like, no, I'm not. And then I said, okay, well, maybe you're going to lead me to my healing angel. So he said, you should probably go to Sedona. It's in Arizona. I said, I never heard of it. And I look up Sedona, Arizona. It's the 33rd most spiritual place. So I cancel my trip. I canceled my trip in Mount Zion, and I decided to go to Arizona. I'd never been here. And Isaac texted me, and he says, have you ever been to Arizona? And I was like, this is really weird. I just decided to come here. And I said, I'm not going to meet him unless God throws it in my face. So we start talking. I was like, I'm not going to go there. Then he told me he has my same birthday. So I was like, okay, I have to go meet him because I told God that's what I would do. So I go meet him, and we have the same birthday. Our brothers are both named Jacob and David. Our fathers are both Egyptian Jews from Cairo. We're both vegetarians. Then I find out he does stuff for the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea has 33% salt in it. Walt Disney's club is called Club 33. The reason they're called this is because the location of Atlantis is inside the earth. The coordinates are 3333. It's the soul of the earth.
Again, there's a delusional linkage between Mr. Shabat's business, private dining clubs in various Disney parks, Atlantis, and the number 33. The delusional complex grows more complex still.
Jackie, can I get you to respond to some of the charges against you?
Oh,
Did you break into his home?
I'd rather not talk about those things.
I presume this was on her lawyer's advice. It seems that the lawyer's purpose behind granting this interview was to show how psychiatrically unwell Jacqueline was, and not to allow her to address the details of the allegations against her.
What about the text messages?
I'd rather not talk about this.
You said you met him online.
Yeah.
What site did you meet him on?
Luxie.
What kind of site is that?
Oh, like the most shallow one ever, where the rich men meet the pretty girls.
Luxie is marketed as a site where one can meet high-value people in your area. Its reputation is as a place where one can meet millionaires.
And what, I know you don't want to talk about the texts, but in some of them you said some pretty crazy things. Would you want to just respond to that part of it?
Not right now.
Why did you text him 65,000 times?
Because it made me find out all my information. Loving him selflessly brought this information because everybody just wants to take. But if you just give and you don't stop giving, even if you don't receive, you all of a sudden receive a lot.
This speech is indicative of thought disorder.
Did he tell you to stop contacting him?
I don't want to talk about that.
Did you listen to that?
I don't want to talk about that.
You said, did you go on one date with him?
3.
3 dates. Can you talk about how you felt when you were with him? Did you feel a spark immediately? Talk about how you felt.
I felt like I met my soulmate and everything was just the way it was. And I thought we would just do what everybody else did and we would just like get married and everything would be fine. But that's not what happened.
65,000 text messages. That's like
That's
next
it?
level stuff.
To me, it seemed like more.
Seemed like more than 65,000?
To me, yeah. I felt like I met my soulmate and everything was just the way it was.
This sudden falling in love and certainty about the love is characteristic of erotomania. Most people's experience of non-pathological love isn't so sudden or certain. In terms of the number of texts, in reality, it wasn't 65,000 texts. It was closer to 165,000 texts over 10 months, or about 550 per day. The excessive nature of this texting is common in erotomania.
Isn't that kind of excessive?
Love is an excessive thing.
Can you understand why people think this is a little bit out there?
Oh, yeah.
Are you a crazy person?
No.
Tell us, who are you? Like, what do you want?
I'm the person that discovered love, the equation to light. Einstein discovered the equation to light. It's E equals mc squared. To finish that equation, everything we see is made out of light, everything, and the composition of the light that it's made out of.
This is even more clearly thought-disordered communication. Love, light, E equals mc squared, and everything is made out of light. It simply doesn't make sense.
Jackie, some of those messages don't sound like love, they sound like threats.
When you're finding love, not everything is perfect. This was a journey. And I want to apologize because nobody would ever be more sorry.
Would you have really hurt him?
No. I love him. So the rest of the equation is L equals 3.3. L equals 3.3 times E equals MC squared. And that's the equation of eternal love.
He loved you.
It means one boy thing plus one girl thing. The boy is the light. The light makes the love work really hard. The love, we're as women supposed to worship the men, and they're supposed to lead us in where we're supposed to go. But instead, we all believe in the number 0. The number 0 is a belief system that the Illuminati created to create the undertaking of all humankind.
So L equals 3.3 times E equal MC squared. Men are light, women are love, and the number 0 is a bizarre system created by the Illuminati. Leaving aside the delusional nature of these bizarre beliefs, it is also striking that Jacqueline is not really answering the questions asked. Her mind is off on its own path. These are very thought-disordered answers which veer completely off topic.
Why do you think it was important to speak to us today?
Because I have to share
Share what?
the message of love.
What's your message of love?
Everybody has to love each other.
What do you want the victim, if the victim's watching, what do you want him to know right now?
Victim, he's not a victim.
Okay, the person
That I love.
yes.
What do I want him to know? That I love him.
Jacqueline shows a complete lack of insight into the unreasonableness of her behaviour and the fact that she is not in a romantic relationship with Shabat.
Are you going to leave him alone?
If he wants me to.
Has he asked you to leave him alone?
I don't want to talk about those things.
Why did you go to his business on Friday and tell everybody there that you were his wife?
I don't want to talk about them.
Can we ask why you don't want to talk about something?
You have negative energy. I'm sorry.
What are you feeling right now when you hear those questions?
They're being negative to me, and I feel like everybody should just be nice.
Well, we are trying to understand where you're coming from. It's not negative. You know, so that's why we want to try to understand.
If pressed, individuals with erotomania frequently clam up and refuse to divulge anything more. One interviewer here has pushed too hard too soon, and now Jacqueline begins to close up, stating the interviewer has negative energy. The other interviewers intervene and all work together to put Jacqueline at ease and continue the interview.
On the dollar bill, it says, she prefers your undertaking, a new world order in Latin on the $1 bill. And the pyramid represents slavery, and the third eye is the imagination. So everybody is a Jew, essentially. That's what the imagination is. And the pyramid is how we were enslaved. So we've been enslaved by money, and we enslave each other. It's like a self-perpetuating cycle of enslaving each other and taking from each other and being selfish.
Jack, you know, when you tell people that you want to bathe in their blood and you want to wear their body parts and you don't want to be a murderer, I mean, that's pretty scary stuff.
I don't want to talk about that.
It's pretty scary stuff. Would you admit that was scary stuff?
I don't want to talk about that.
Jackie, so love makes you do crazy things, you know, we've all heard that. Would it ever make you capable of killing someone?
No.
Do you think that some of these messages in your textbook or in your text is negative energy?
Oh, yes, part of downloads of information.
I mean, some of the things you said to him sound like negative energy.
It is always good to use the patient's own language. It builds rapport, and it is more difficult for them to object to your word choices or attitude if you're using the words they have used.
How do you respond to that?
I only want to be nice. I only want to be nice. I only want to talk about nice things. If I said something bad, I apologize, and I only want to be nice. I want everybody else to be nice. I want all of you to be nice. I want to be nice. Everybody in the jail should be nice. Nothing bad would ever happen to anybody if everybody was nice.
I believe Jacqueline is very genuine in her intentions here. It is common in cases of erotomania for the intentions to be good. The problem is that despite the best of intentions, the delusional nature of the illness can lead to great distress and both psychological and physical harm occurring.
So in this journey of love that you were taking, I guess this is the last place that you imagined that you'd end up.
No, if Isaac wants me to go to jail, I should be in jail.
That's hard.
I appreciate it.
Why would you accept that then?
Because I love him and he should know better. He's the light, I'm the love. He knows what to do. I follow the rules. I follow the rules.
This is also common. Issues such as police intervention, court cases, and even jail time are not viewed in their correct context. Attempts by the victim to protect themselves from the individual suffering from erotomania. Instead, they are often viewed as tests by the victim, which the sufferer must overcome to prove their love, or by other groups trying to put barriers in the way of the sufferer's journey towards fulfilling love.
If you were released today, would you leave him alone?
Yeah, if he asked me to, yeah.
But he has asked you to.
Okay.
Where's your journey going to take you now then?
I could go back home and spread the message there.
Worried about something like this happening again?
No, I'm not worried.
Jacqueline isn't worried about events like this happening again, despite the 10 months of texting, the breaking and entering, and showing up at his work claiming to be his wife. Strangely enough, I believe Jacqueline is not intentionally lying here. In her mind, she doesn't believe anything like this will happen again. How can that be, you ask? Well, in the minds of those who suffer from erotomania, once they pass all of their loved ones' tests, or overcome the barriers put in place to keep them apart, they and their loved one will be together and blissful happiness will reign. So, in Jacqueline's mind, it is likely her view that once she is let out of jail and any court case is resolved, she will have shown her commitment sufficiently to Shabat. She and he will be together, and since they are together, there will be no need for any coercive behaviours, breaking and entering, or obsessive texting. This is what makes interviewing individuals with erotomania so difficult. You can get an answer which you interpret one way, while they mean it in a very different way. You've always got to be alive to the why of any answer, and whether that why is based in delusional thinking, as it is in this case.
What have the last 24 hours been like for you being in here?
Good. I like everything and everyone.
Was Isaac nice to you?
No, he's the meanest person I've ever met.
And why do you like him if he's that
We're
way?
soulmates. There's one boy and one girl. It's one boy thing, one girl thing. And it equals 3.3. Instead of having the number 0, we're only supposed to count to 3.3. 1, 2, 3.3. 3.3 is infinity. So if we counted from one boy thing to one girl thing, it would equal forever. Like the universe and all the planets.
One other characteristic of a lot of delusional thinking is that when you ask for the reasoning behind it, you just get the superficial recitation of the delusion again. Why does Jacqueline love Shabat? Soulmates, the number 33, boys are light, girls are love, the universe, the same delusional complex as before is recited.
Why do you say Isaac was mean?
Oh, because he was.
How?
I'm not going to tell everybody about that. I'm not him. I'm the love.
So do you believe that the number 33 led you to Isaac?
Yes,
How so?
I just told you.
Why did you go to his house and take a shower?
I don't like your energy. I'm sorry.
Can I ask the same question? You know,
No, I don't want to talk about that either. You guys think that's weird, so why would I want to talk about things that you guys
no,
think
we're
are
just
weird?
trying to understand where you're coming from.
Oh, I follow him. Wherever he goes, I follow him.
And yet another restatement of the delusion. This is very characteristic in discussions with those suffering from erotomania and other delusional disorders.
When you guys were on dates, can you tell us what the dates were like?
I don't really want to talk about. No.
So, but you think he was the one?
Yeah.
Do you still believe that?
He's the one of all light. Now we know the story of light. If he doesn't want to be with me, he's not the one for me, but he's still the story of the light. Like the Holy Grail, I found that in him. Okay?
Have you ever found out with anyone else?
No.
Describe that feeling, that first date that you went with him. How did you feel?
Like I found everything. And I feel like I did. It was just a journey. And now here you guys are.
Where was your first date? How did you, where'd you go? What'd you do?
We went to Shabat at his parents' house, and that's what my parents do. My parents do Shabat too.
Here in Arizona?
Yeah.
How long have you been here in Arizona now?
Like 5 months.
Okay. Did you go to Sedona first, or did you just come straight?
Sedona.
So you've been in Arizona 5 months,
I think so.
but you've known him for over a year now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you...
I was traveling around, and I told him, I was in California, I wanted to stay in California. It was while we were still kind of talking before, because I scared him. So while we were still talking, I told him if he ever blocked me on WhatsApp, that I would come and move here. So he blocked me, so I came here.
Why would you not leave him alone if he blocked you?
I told him I would come here if he blocked me. So he was testing me.
Do you feel like you were trying to force yourself on him?
Not really, no. I was in California. I was just texting him. And he was listening. No.
Two things are interesting here. Firstly, that Jacqueline interpreted the lack of replies as he was listening. Secondly, the fact that she felt that him blocking her was a test of her commitment to him. This demonstrates how someone suffering from erotomania, a delusional disorder, will interpret anything you do, including doing nothing, in a way which fits their narrative. Don't reply to their messages, you're listening. Block them on your phone, you're testing them. Involve the police, another test. Move to a different country, another test. Have intermediaries reach out to them to try to reason to them, another test. If they believe society and shadowy groups want to keep you apart, they'll try even harder to get close to you. Say you're married, they'll think it's a sham marriage, or a forced, unhappy marriage, and that you really want to be with them. I've seen all these rationalizations in my patients over the years.
So your first date was in California?
No, here at his parents' house at Shabat.
Okay, and when was that first date?
January 19th.
Of last year?
Yeah.
And then when was your second date?
The next 3 days.
Okay, and that was also here?
Yeah.
And that was last year as well?
Yeah.
And then the third date?
I said 3 days at his house.
So you stayed with him for 3 days?
Yeah.
What were those 3 days like for you? Just
He was being weird to me, and I let it be because I knew I should just let it be.
how weird?
Why do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Weird things about him? Why?
Because we want to understand you.
He put a GPS on my car, I think. He put something on my phone so I couldn't use it.
Why do you think he would do that to you?
Because he felt the same about me.
Here we see both paranoia, the GPS in the car and interfering with the phone, and erotomanic delusions.
Because he felt the same about me.
Clearly he didn't. Jacqueline is clearly delusional, but is also exhibiting disordered thought and paranoia. She is sounding more and more like she may have a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia also. This makes sense because schizophrenia develops at a later stage in women than men. In men, it frequently first presents in their early 20s. In women, it characteristically presents between the ages of 30 to 33. Jacqueline was in the middle of this age group in the last 2 years when this illness, presumably, developed during her 2 years of moving around.
So we wanted to keep that connection, that...
Yeah. He wasn't used to somebody that would just like stay there because they want to.
Did he ask you to leave?
When?
And when you were staying at his house?
We just had a 3-day date and he left and I left. He told me I could stay at his villa in Mexico, but I didn't want to because I knew he would film me on cameras and I didn't want to. So I thought maybe if I calmed him down over time, he would realize he doesn't have to stalk me.
It would be very easy to view the statement that
he would film me on cameras
as being another paranoid and delusional statement. However, we must always be open to the fact that not everything someone who is unwell says is due to illness. In this case, the reasonable explanation for this statement is that Jacqueline is referring to security cameras which Shabat, a multimillionaire, had on his property. We know he used security cameras because the history tells us he spotted Jacqueline in his house on his security cameras. If there's a reasonable, non-delusional explanation, then, unless we can prove the statement was delusional, we should give the patient the benefit of the doubt. So, in this case, I'll assume she isn't being delusional here. Of course, if I were interviewing Jacqueline, I'd have clarified this by asking what she meant by
he would film me on cameras.
But these are journalists, not trained mental health professionals, so their focus is different.
When did he start to not want to talk to you anymore? Because he blocked you on WhatsApp, so you came to Arizona, and then I'm just trying to understand what happened after that.
I'm not sure. That's why I'm here.
Do you want answers from him? What are you hoping for?
I want him to do anything he feels like he should do.
So you're not angry with him?
No. Oh my God, no, I love him so much. I just want to love him so much, that's it. And if he doesn't like it, then I'll go home and I'll love my ex-boyfriend. What am I supposed to do?
Has he blocked you on anything else?
No, he lets me text him and he reads all of it.
Again, I believe Jacqueline is being sincere. The problem is that her illness makes her unable to see that Shabat doesn't want a long-term relationship with her, and she will continue to interpret everything that happens as either proof of love or a test of her commitment to him. So, she genuinely means it when she says she wants him to be happy and would leave him alone if she believed he didn't love her. It is just that her illness makes her incapable of believing he doesn't love her. Erotomania is a very severe, disabling illness, and it is always very distressing and damaging to both the sufferer and the object of their affection.
Where's home for you?
Sure.
You said you want to go
Desert
back
Ridge.
home.
Oh, I call home Miami just because that's where I came from.
Would you go back to Miami?
I would. If he told me to go to Miami, I would. If he doesn't, if he's not going to say, whatever he wants me to do.
Should he be afraid of you?
No.
Did he ever warn you that he was going to call the police if you didn't stop texting?
No.
Does any of this seem kind of weird at all to you?
No.
Because in a lot of people's eyes, they see this as weird.
That's because they're selfish. And they've never actually loved someone without getting anything back.
The test of whether or not something is delusional is whether it is a fixed, false, firmly held belief in spite of evidence to the contrary. We can see here that despite all of the evidence that Shabat isn't in love with Jacqueline and doesn't want a relationship with her, she continues to believe he does. This is the key delusion Jacqueline appears to suffer from. Her lack of insight is demonstrated both by the delusion and the fact that she claims not to recognize any of the current events as being weird.
The point of love is to keep giving it. That's that math equation. It's love equals 3.3, which is infinity, times E equals MC squared, which is light. Light is forever. L equals 3. L, if love was a number, it would be 3. So it's infinity times light, which is also infinity. So it's just forward, forever forward. And if you're selfish, you can't understand that because you want something in return. He's not giving me anything in return, and I still love him anyway. That's what love is. That's what the universe is supposed to be made out of.
There's another reiteration of the delusional complex. Love, light, boy, girl, 3.3, love's relationship to E equals MC squared.
When's the last time you talked to him?
He sent me a text on a fake number before I went to his work.
got you arrested?
I think it's a good idea. I think it was a good idea. If he thought it was a good idea, that means it's a good idea.
Even in the absence of any contact, individuals suffering from delusional disorder will interpret scam calls, wrong numbers, etc. as being surreptitious attempts to reach out to them. So, even if you do nothing, they'll be convinced you are reaching out. And even if you do something, like getting the person suffering from erotomania arrested, they'll manage to fit that into their delusional complex as a test, or somehow, convolutedly, a good idea. This is all very par for the course.
Do you think you're in danger?
No. I think he wanted to make sure I wasn't or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, you carried a knife with you.
When?
A police report states that you had a butcher knife.
What? I never had a butcher knife. I had like little flippy knives on my road trip.
But we know she actually did have a butcher knife with her, an 8-inch long butcher knife. So this is a lie on her part.
People try to hurt me. I'm a single girl. I drove across America. I don't carry a butcher knife. No.
How do you know he's the one that texted you on the fake number?
Just like I know he's the one that set you guys up here.
What did he say in that text message?
He said, Nolly, this is Carol. Are you coming to finish your prayer? And I was like, please don't tell me that this is you sending me fake text messages because you want me to come over so you could call the police on me again. But I did it. I went there because I knew it was him. He said he was looking for a doctor and a prayer, and I said, nobody else would say that to me but him.
That text message has nothing any reasonable person could construe as having to do with Shabat. This is another example of how someone suffering from delusions will see connections and justifications where there are none.
So.
All right, guys. Go ahead and turn your cameras off.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacqueline, very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
So, what happened after this interview? Jacqueline was ruled incompetent but restorable in May 2019. This means that the judge felt she was mentally incompetent to stand trial at that time, but had the capacity to regain mental competence with appropriate treatment. So, she was committed to treatment to restore her competence and enable her to be declared fit for trial in the future. Unfortunately for Jacqueline, she didn't respond sufficiently to treatment to regain her competence. The charges against her were dismissed in March 2020 when she was found mentally incompetent and non-restorable. She was released from prison to a mental health facility and, eventually, to the care of her parents in Florida. She was barred from returning to the victim's home or contacting him. Unfortunately, this story didn't have a happy ending for Jacqueline. A grave in her name, listing her date of birth and the date of death of November 3rd, 2021, can be found on the South Florida Jewish Cemetery website. I hope that wherever Jacqueline is now, she finds the peace that eluded her during her life. We hope you found this exploration of a case of erotomania with forensic aspects and analysis of the accompanying jailhouse interview interesting. We've included links to several books which either deal with erotomania specifically or psychopathology in general. These are affiliate links, so if you purchase through them, we'll receive a commission which we'll put towards creating more and better content. Please leave any comments or questions in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them. If you'd like to be notified when we release videos, remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Take care and stay safe.